Welcome to the GNU Cache tutorial. This is a basic tutorial in which I will talk about the functionality of the GNU Cache. GNU Cache is a free accounting software distributed under GNU GPL, General Public License. It is available for Windows, Mac, Linux, Solaris, and BSD. We can download this program by going to www.gnucache.org. And from here we are going to go on the left pane and click on downloads. You want to select the appropriate version for your Windows operating system. I'm going to be selecting the Microsoft Windows XP Vista 7 option, and this will take me to the SourceForge website, and from here my download will start shortly. Now that the installer is downloaded onto my computer, I'm simply going to launch the installer to start the setup. Here we're going to select the language. I'm choosing English and hit OK. And this is just telling us welcome to the GNU Cache setup wizard, and we're going to just hit next. We are going to accept the license agreement. After clicking on accepting the license agreement, I'm going to hit next. From here, you can select the folder where you want the components to be downloaded to of GNU Cache. I'm going to leave the standard folder, the program files GNU Cache, and hit next. So once we click next, on this screen you can select the component you want to install. I'm selecting the full installation and clicking on next. On this screen you can select a folder in which the start menu item will be created, and the default is GNU Cache right now, and I'm going to leave it as is and click on next. Now on this screen you can choose where to put the shortcuts to launch your GNU Cache. I'm going to select the desktop icon along with the start menu link and click on next. And we are ready to install GNU Cache on our computer. Hit install and let the installing finish. Once the installation is done, now we can ready to continue with the setup, and we are simply going to click next and finish our setup wizard. Now that the installation is done, we should have a GNU Cache icon on the desktop, and we are going to double click this. So it's launching our GNU Cache software. So once you have selected your accounts, on the next screen, which is this setup selected accounts, you can change the account names. So it gives you the option to change the account names, and you can also input their opening balances. So now for my purpose, I'm going to click on the savings account and say I have $5,000 in my savings account, hit enter, and in my checkings account I'm going to input $10,000. Now we're going to click forward. We click apply to create the accounts, and GNU Cache prompts you to save the file. So we're going to save the file. I'm going to say business accounts and save as. Now, your new accounts have been created. You can always go back and add more accounts to your current setup. So this brings us to the main GNU Cache window, which is the accounts tree window. So as you can see, there are 5 different categories. We have assets, equity, expenses, income, and liabilities. I will expand the assets accounts tree. And as you can see, we have accounts receivable, in which you can maintain your payments that you need to collect for the goods you sold. Then we have another subgroup called current assets, under which we have the checking account, we have the petty cash, and we have the savings account. So as you see, the opening balances are already there. $5,000 in the savings account, and then in my checking account I have $10,000. Now I'm expanding the equity accounts group, and as you can see, the total of checking and savings account opening balances have been has been credited in the opening balances account. Equity accounts represent money which has been invested by the owners of the business as compared with liabilities, which is money borrowed from others for the business. Now, all of the money collected from equity and liabilities is used to buy assets, which means that the sum of equity and liabilities would always be equal to assets. This is also called the basic accounting equation. You can also double click any of these accounts to see the transactions done on this particular account leading to the current balance. So let's say, for instance, I double click the checking account. It shows me the equity opening balances, transfer type, and a deposit of $10,000. Now, this window that pops up, it is called the account registered window. You can also add more transactions from the account registered window, but a more convenient way is the transfer window. So instead of going and adding manually, we can actually do a transfer, and we will talk about that shortly. And I'm going to hit close. Now, in accounting, any money that comes into an account has to come from another account, which means every debit in an account leads to credit in another account. So assets, equity, and liabilities are called balance sheet accounts. These are real accounts which represent physical things like factory, equipment, cash, loans, etc. Now, income and expenses are the nominal accounts which are used to make changes to balance sheet accounts. Let's now look at transfer. For this, we need to go to Actions menu and click Transfer. The Transfer Funds window pops up. Now, the shortcut for this window is Ctrl plus T. So if I just hit Ctrl plus T on my keyboard, I will get the Transfer Funds window. Now here I'm going to input the amount to transfer. So let's say I sold goods worth $15,000 today. So I input the amount $15,000 and I select the current date of transfer. Now, number is optional. It is just a number to identify your transaction. I'm going to leave it blank. In the description field, you can type a description of the transaction. I'm typing sales of computer hardware. Now we'll select the account from which to transfer the funds to. This money is generating from sales, so I'm transferring from sales. So I scroll down and look for sales. So I'm transferring from sales and I want to check show income and expense, and I'm going to scroll down and look for sales. And it should be coming up soon. So our sales is right under the interest income, and I'm going to select sales. Now on the right hand side, I'm transferring to. Now this is the accounts where I'm transferring the money into. So the sale of $1,500 was on credit, so I'm going to select my accounts receivable, which is under the assets tree, and hit OK. Now as you can see, the current balance in assets and income. So the assets and the income right here, they both have changed by the same amount, that is $1,500. Now there are some tools available in Screencast which you can use in your day-to-day accounting practices. Let's see a couple of them. We're going to go to Tools menu and click on General Ledger.